The poor waitress worked long shifts at a bustling downtown restaurant, her hands often sore from carrying heavy trays, and her feet aching from endless hours of standing. She lived with her mother in a small, modest apartment on the outskirts of the city, and every penny she earned went toward keeping the lights on, buying medicine for her mother, and making sure there was just enough food on the table. Life wasn't easy, but she was grateful for the job, and even in hardship she managed to smile. Customers loved her polite manners and the quiet warmth she carried, but beneath the surface, she lived with constant worry about how long she could keep everything together. One evening, a tall, well-dressed man walked into the restaurant. His presence immediately changed the atmosphere. He wasn't just wealthy, he exuded an aura of power and influence. The staff recognized him as one of the city's most powerful billionaires, a man whose name was always in the business pages of the newspaper. He was known for his luxury cars, sprawling mansions, and ruthless business strategies. The waitress, however, didn't pay much attention to those things. To her, he was just another customer she had to serve with patience and respect. As she placed the menu in front of him, she couldn't help but notice the sparkling ring on his hand. Her heart skipped a beat. That ring wasn't just familiar, it was identical to the one her mother kept in a little wooden box at home. The waitress froze for a moment, her mind racing. It couldn't be. It was impossible. Her mother always said the ring was a gift from a man she once loved deeply, a man who disappeared long ago, leaving nothing but that piece of jewelry as a memory. Gathering courage, she softly whispered, "Sir, my mom has that ring." The billionaire, startled, looked up. His eyes widened, and for a moment his composed mask slipped away. He stared at her, studying her face with an intensity that made her uncomfortable. The ring wasn't just expensive jewelry for him either. It carried a history, a painful reminder of a woman he once loved but lost. He had searched for her for years, but she seemed to vanish from his world without explanation. His life had since spiraled into relentless ambition and loneliness, but that ring was his most personal possession, a symbol of the love he never got back. He asked the waitress to repeat what she said. Nervously she did, explaining that her mother had a ring exactly like his, passed down as something precious. The billionaire's hands trembled. He asked her mother's name, and when she spoke it, he felt as if the ground beneath him gave way. It was her, the woman he had once loved and lost, the woman who had disappeared, leaving him shattered. The realization was so overwhelming that he suddenly clutched his chest, gasped for air, and collapsed to the floor of the restaurant. The staff rushed to his aid, and the waitress dropped to her knees, panic-stricken. She held his hand, calling for an ambulance, tears streaming down her face, though she barely knew him. Something about the connection between the ring, her mother, and this man made her feel as though fate had pulled them into a moment that would change everything. Within minutes, he was taken to the hospital, and she couldn't stop herself from following. Torn between fear and a strange pull she didn't understand. At the hospital, she waited anxiously outside his room. Hours passed before the doctors said he would recover. When he awoke, the first person he asked to see was her. She stepped in, unsure, but he gave her a look that was not just gratitude, but recognition. He explained how, many years ago, he had fallen in love with a woman from a simple background. Despite his wealthy family's disapproval, he wanted to be with her. But life, misunderstandings, and cruel circumstances had separated them. All he had left was the ring, a matching piece to the one he had given her. He never married, never found love again, because no one compared to her mother. The waitress listened in shock, her heart pounding. Could it be true? Could this man be the one her mother always spoke of in hushed tones, the one who left behind both love and heartbreak? She told him about her mother's struggles, about how hard life had been, and about the sacrifices she had made to raise her alone. His eyes filled with tears as he realized the gravity of what had been lost, not only the love of his life, but the years of being absent from his own child. Days later, the waitress brought her mother to meet him. The moment her mother walked into the hospital room, silence filled the air. Their eyes met, and decades of longing and pain washed over them. She gasped at the sight of him, and he at her as if no time had passed. The mother's hands trembled as she reached for the ring she always kept safe, the twin of his. He held out his hand, the other ring shining under the hospital light, and in that instant, the truth became undeniable. The reunion was bittersweet. They spoke for hours, filling in the years with stories, apologies, and confessions. The waitress sat quietly, watching her mother's eyes light up with emotions she had never seen before. She realized that her life had been built on half a story, a missing piece of family history that had just fallen into place. The billionaire, though weakened by his collapse, found new strength in the presence of the daughter he never knew he had, and the woman he never stopped loving. Time passed, and the bond between them grew stronger. For the waitress, her life transformed overnight. She was no longer just the poor girl serving tables. She had found a father who wanted to give her the world, not through wealth, but through love and care he had denied himself for so long. For her mother, it was the rediscovery of a love she thought was lost forever, a second chance to heal old wounds. And for the billionaire, it was a humbling reminder that money and power could never replace the simple treasures of family, love, and time. The story of a poor waitress noticing a ring became the story of fate, love, and reunion. It was proof that life's strangest coincidences could bring about the most profound truths. A piece of jewelry that symbolized love, loss, and memory had led them back together. The billionaire, once known for his empire and fortune, was now known to them as a father, a partner, and a man who had finally found what truly mattered. And though the scars of the past couldn't be erased, the future was theirs to build anew. For the waitress, it was the end of loneliness, the start of hope, and the moment she realized that destiny always finds its way, no matter how far apart people drift. And for the man who once collapsed to the floor, it was the moment he stood up again, not just physically, but as a father, and as someone who had rediscovered the meaning of love.